Approaching 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time on this Monday evening, we're getting breaking news out of the department of the newsroom of the Courier Mail. They are reporting that 2 police officers have been shot dead while approaching a property. The report claiming they were shot at allegedly by gunmen in camouflage. This news coming in the past few minutes. This is the only bit of footage we've managed to get out of the area right now. You can see from Channel 7 there. That is what they've been able to get. So it can't tell you too much, but we know there's obviously a lot of emergency services on scene. With me now is 6 News political editor, also based in Queensland, Roman McKinnon. Roman, good evening to you. What are we hearing about this? This is really a developing story. We're only just getting these details now.
This has only really happened in the past hour or so, maybe an hour and a half. What we know is that 3 police officers have been shot. They were conducting a check on a missing person in Williambilla in the Western Downs. That's about 30 to 45 minutes away from Chinchilla, which is about 4 hours away from Brisbane. That's just past Toowoomba and Roma. Out west in Queensland. 2 have been reported dead by Channel 10 and the Courier Mail, and there's also been reports from Channel 10 about a 3rd female officer escaping. So yeah, specialist teams, medical aircraft and significant backup is right now on their way to the scene, and it is still an active shooting zone. It's also unsure if those gunmen have been taken into custody yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, Roman, sorry to interrupt. Do we know if we stress allegedly, one or multiple gunmen here? Because that's what I'm not sure about, and that's what I'm not sure anyone's sure about.
I'm just reading the Queensland Police media release here. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how many gunmen there are. You were mentioning there about in the camouflage. It's quite concerning.
Yeah, I was just going to say Courier Mail, and it might have been a typographical error, but they said gunmen, not gunman. Again, that's just a Courier Mail report. We're citing them on that. We're not sure. What they know is at least one person is, allegedly shot here. That's what we do know here. So yeah.
Queensland Police released this statement at 6:10 in Queensland, so 7:10 Australian Eastern Daylight Time. They declared a PSPA in Williambilla, which is a Public Safety Preservation Act, in relation to that ongoing incident in Williambilla. The statement says that several police crews are in attendance at the property. Waynes Road is closed, and the declaration zone encompasses this huge area between Chinchilla, Tara Road, Williambilla Road, Bennett's School Road and Mary Street. So it is quite concerning, and I'm not sure if we have that picture from the media release of that huge remote bushland area.
We don't have that, but I was just going to say, based on the tiny bit of footage here, you can see how remote this area is. I mean, on a kind of smaller level here, the reporter on Channel 7 who did a live cross about this shortly. I'm not sure if you watched it, but he's going live from what looks like, like Skype or Facebook Messenger, just on his phone. There's really nowhere out there. From media crews to emergency services, it's very remote here. Just from what we can infer from these videos that we've got.
I'm just looking at a flight tracking app. It's I believe the RS CQ Life Flight Chopper is on the way to the scene. I'm just looking here near Tara. It is still on the way from Chinchilla. So, of course, it is still a developing scene. Yeah, as you know, what the user in the comments says, gunman or gunmen. Who knows at the moment, and I'm sure a lot more detail will come in overnight and into the morning.
Absolutely, Roman. Look, let's just stay on this as we just passed 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, 8 p.m. Over where you are in Queensland, where this has happened. So the reports we're seeing, and I've been getting this from one of our many Queensland-based reporters, our national reporter, Austin Pollock. It's believed, they were checking on a missing person report or something like that. So you know, it's just extraordinary developments here. So Queensland Police, is that the only media release that we've gotten from them so far? Because the rest just seems to be media reports.
I'm signed up to all of those immediate emails. So that was the last one at yes, about 6:30. That has been the last one that has come through from the Queensland Police media. Yeah, as I mentioned, it's really started to take a toll, not take a toll, but take a turn. It was an hour ago that this was reported, and there's so many unknowns in this story as well. How many people, how many gunmen there were, how they were shot. It's also believed Channel 10, Chris Campy is reporting that the gunman may have took the officers' weapons. It was believed 2 patrol cars were on the way. So yeah, a lot of unknowns still in this story.
So I was just going to say, did you say the report that they may have taken the officers' weapons?
They might have shot them. This was from Channel 10's Chris
Jeez,
Campy. So yeah, it's really an
that's
ongoing
that's
situation
extraordinary.
here.
If true, that is just absolutely extraordinary. So yeah, I'm just continuing to just to follow these updates because we stress there is not much we know right now. We have come on the air, covering these developments probably at the earliest time you can imagine. The Courier Mail saying the 2 officers confirmed as dead are a male and a female officer. That's the Courier Mail as of 4 minutes ago. So yeah,
Sorry, Leo,
no, go
just to
ahead.
jump in. I was saying, I'm not sure if I mentioned this. There was a third female officer unaccounted for. It's been reported by Chris Campy from Channel 10 that she has escaped. So whether or
Mm.
not what's happening there, but another officer and officers have been killed at the hands of the job trying to keep Queenslanders safe.
Again, it's just so extraordinary that this has happened. It's in Wymabilla, in again really remote areas in Queensland. Look, I mean, I was tipped off about this a few minutes ago, and sorry, about half an hour ago, I should say. And I've just followed it since, and it's really developed. We've gone from police officers shot at to police officers feared dead to 2 police officers dead. Which is just extraordinary. And yeah, the declaration zone is huge. I'm going to try and get an image up for everyone at home, just so you can kind of understand how big this area is. But it's big to say the least, isn't it?
And it is a very remote area, and it would be absolutely treacherous conditions, obviously, through the night to work to try and find these gunmen, especially if they're in camouflage. It is quite confronting and concerning
Yeah, that I mean
for
that's just
those
an
police
extraordinary
officers
element
now.
from these reports about this alleged gunmen that they may have been in camouflage. I mean, that's just you know, I mean, again, we don't want to speculate, but it's that kind of element there, if true, is just extraordinary.
It would be quite concerning for the Queensland Police colleagues that are out there in the remote bushland to try and track down these people. Obviously, I mentioned before that specialist teams, medical aircraft, and obviously significant backup are right now on the way to the scene. So it'd be quite confronting for them, especially all the officers now trying to contain those
Yeah,
gunmen
no one in custody. That's
situation.
what we understand, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. So yeah, as I mentioned before, a lot of unknowns with this developing story right now. But yeah, it is a lot of unknowns. I also wanted to mention that 2 patrol cars, so 3 police officers, 2 patrol cars
Hmm.
came under heavy and sustained fire. So
I
yeah,
suspect we're going to
quite
see images
confronting.
of that very soon. They will come out shortly. I can imagine if it's just the patrol cars, you would see bullet damage and the like.
Yeah, and that would probably be quite confronting, as I mentioned, for those police officers out there. Of course, it's an ongoing situation. We're probably going to have more information in the morning and maybe even before 10 p.m.
Yeah, we're gonna
Australian
keep
Eastern
covering this
Daylight
for you
Time.
overnight. This is an image, by the way. You've now got it on screen. By the way, it's not even. It's zoomed in a bit here, so it's kind of not even the full image, but you get the basic idea of this exclusion zone. Not only can you see how big it is, but how remote this is in Queensland. That is the exclusion zone that has been set up by police in the past few minutes because of, again, these reports of potential gunmen in camouflage, 2 police officers dead. It's 1 police officer in hospital as well. I've just been talking to Roman. I've been talking to you, but I've been talking to Austin Pollock as well. He is reporting for 6 News that the ABC is saying the property where the shooting took place is set among small acreage blocks, which is with a small wooden house. This is I'm just feeding this from Austin, Roman. I'm not sure if you've actually seen this yet. A local resident is believed to have been shot after going to investigate what appeared to be a car fire at a neighbouring property. That's
Wow.
interesting. I'm going to follow that one for you. That's per the ABC there. Yeah. That's again, so many elements here. It's extraordinary, and I'm just gonna, let's just put that Queensland, that footage we got from 7. That small bit of footage. But yeah, really remote area. You can see no properties in that footage, but you've got those emergency services there. Again, just really extraordinary.
Confronting as well.
No, it is confronting. I mean, 2 police officers, or more than 2 shot, 2 dead, is just, extraordinary. And this is something that we would expect either late tonight or tomorrow morning. The Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk would address. I mean, you'd have to, with 2 police officers dead. That's something you'd have to address.
I think we would hear from Queensland's police minister. Austin has been feeding this info into me. Not just the police officers now, it's really a matter of citizen safety. So whether or not, how, what might happen, checking on a car fire, it is quite disturbing that this might have been planned.
Yeah, which, again, where the camouflage comes from as well, allegedly. But these elements are just all I'll keep coming back to the word, though, extraordinary. So we would expect, realistically, police to address this very shortly. Yeah, we are gonna stay on the air for you because these developments could come in any second now, and they have been coming in as we go to air. For our viewers just joining us, Romy, can you just recap basically what we know from the very beginning here regarding these officers that have been shot dead? What are the basics here that we have been able to confirm?
What we've been able to confirm: 3 police officers have been shot, 2 have been reported, and I stress reported, dead. A 3rd female officer has escaped, reported again. There was checking in on a missing person in Williambilla in the Western Downs in Queensland. Queensland Police declared a PSPA covering all that remote bushland, which was just up on your screen before.
I'll put that back up, yeah.
Yeah, appreciate it. So it's still really an active shooting zone. We're not sure about the camouflage aspect yet, but Austin has just messaged me again, saying that residents described hearing what they believe to be a semi-automatic weapon being fired on the property, which had been unoccupied in the past week. So that's starting to believe that this might be, planned and things like that. What unconfirmed as well from Austin and the ABC, that a local resident is believed to have been shot after checking on a car fire.
Yeah, and now I was just going to interject there, Roman, because when our hearing, I'm getting this fed through from Austin as well, but also via the ABC. I'm not sure if they've retracted it, but we're just going to stress that resident element's kind of really unconfirmed here. But again, citing ABC, what the ABC is reporting though is that, quote, residents described hearing what they believe to be a semi-automatic weapon, being fired on the property, which had been unoccupied until the past week. Again, that missing person element comes into it. I'm just stunned from what we're hearing here, and I'm sure you are too. We're getting these, as you at home are getting these developments coming through. It's extraordinary. But reportedly, what was believed to be a semi-automatic weapon on the property that may have been unoccupied till the past week. Again, it was stressed that the officers were going to check on a missing person, is what we understand. So, add on to that the alleged gunmen in camouflage. Add on to that these reports about a car fire. It's all in all just an extraordinary situation.
I'm trying to find some media people to try and get in contact with the Premier's office to see, what might be happening in regards. I'm sure she's probably aware of the news. It is really concerning, and especially coming into, the holidays and everyone going out and about. I see Daniel Morgan saying that I hope that isn't the start of another Port Arthur-like massacre.
Yeah, that's really kind of speculatory talk, of course. But again, what we can confirm, unless it's changed in the past few minutes while we're on air, but we're trying to update you. What we can 100% confirm based on multiple verified sources, based on police information as well. 2 officers shot dead, reportedly 1 male, 1 female, at least 1 person in hospital, there being a 3rd officer involved, police cars reportedly under fire, and they were going to check on a missing person. There is no one in custody. That can be confirmed by us, by other media, by police media. So that's that. That's all we can say fully. You're still seeing that image of that exclusion zone, and I mean it's huge. Let's just readjust the image there. You can just see how big this is. It's just a massive zone. You put up that footage of the Channel 7 was airing, and you can just see how remote the whole thing is.
I'm not sure what we might hear from other outlets. Of course, Channel 7 have a reporter about half an hour away from the scene, so they were right on this. As you mentioned, calling in via some sort of video call platform. So. It is really concerning, and public safety might be at a huge risk here if the Queensland Police don't tackle this, quite seriously.
And of course, I'm sure they're trying, but of course, but with these reports, gunmen in camouflage, no one is in custody at all. Is what we have been told. Channel 9, Channel 10, Channel 7, the ABC, and the Courier Mail, and 6 News as well, going on those reports that 2 officers are dead. So that is what can be confirmed by again us and by multiple other media. But all in all, Roman, it's just something that I think we're going to see developments come in as they do come in live, and that is what's been happening in the 15 or so minutes that we've actually been covering this.
Not sure, once again, how long this might go on for. Obviously, we might get something overnight about this. And regarding what government people will say, I'm assuming the Queensland Premier, Queensland Police Minister will talk about this, as well as it's a terrible string of events. Of course, those families, what they might be thinking about their loved one at the act of just trying to keep the community safe.
Three officers. We know there are 2 dead, but it's three at least officers involved in this. Again, there were really conflicting reports about whether it's a civilian in hospital or whether it's police. It seems to be based on more reports leaning towards it is police, a police officer. But yeah, I mean there was some I think that said four. I don't think that's accurate purely because there's not much else we've managed to get about that. But yeah. What are we seeing in this vid? Someone asked. This is all that we have from the scene. This is from Channel 7 shortly ago. So yeah, that is all we have from the scene. If you at home are seeing any developments, have any tips, have any questions for us, please let us know right now. We're going to keep answering them for you right now because we're going to keep trying to give you developments on this. So it's certainly that certainly a lot of unknowns here. I think we should kind of emphasize, as much as we'd love to give you every single development on this. This is all we know right now, and we're going to really try to avoid the speculation for you because it's unhelpful. It's oftentimes inaccurate, but this is what we can confirm. What you're seeing right now is what we can confirm.
I just wanted to say this is, those emergency services. How long will it might take them? Of course, being in a remote area, obviously it's a big remote bushland area. So especially being in camouflage, they could be, those gunmen could be absolutely anywhere right now. And as I mentioned, that remote area for those emergency services to try and
so remote, so incredibly remote. Like it's almost ridiculously remote here. So to try to be able to get accurate information out of there is going to be a huge problem and challenge. But we're going to try here.
I just wanted to read out some of the comments about the awesomest Ryan T said, used to live in the area. It's not weird to hear odd stuff in the area, drugs, guns, etc. So it's more and more starting to believe that this might have been planned.
Again, it's kind of it's hard to confirm on that area, but more so just the fact you're hearing that it was reportedly with camouflage is in itself just extraordinary to say the very least. It's extraordinary. And we're really trying here for you at home to be able to get the most accurate information on this. But it obviously can be hard. Not only is it from remote sources, but obviously we have no one actually on the scene right now. What we do have though is our team across the nation and in Queensland, especially you, Roman, and Austin right now have been covering this all and are continuing to cover this for all of us, and really for you at home too, because we're trying to get this information out to you as accurately as possible, and we're going to do our best to do that for you. It's all about you here. So I guess bear with us as we try to cover this for you, but yeah. No more developments from police media so far. Can you just repeat what they were saying about half an hour ago?
There was a media release from My Police, which is the Queensland media outlet, releasing mail thing, at 6:26 Queensland time, saying a PSPA declaration for Williambilla. So police have declared an emergency declaration under the Public Safety Preservation Act in relation to an ongoing incident at Williambilla. Also, I wanted to mention, who knows how long that might be in place for, and if it might get larger, that area, because currently, I'm not sure if it's still on the screen or not, that absolutely
I can put that back up, yep.
Yeah, that absolutely remote area with little to no roads. You'd think the gunmen on foot or not, or have they, obviously there's a large police presence, so they'd probably be going door to door, obviously trying to remain safe, of course, in what they do. But yeah, who knows who knows what might happen. Yeah, sorry, Leo, I'll keep going.
No,
So
no, all good, man. I was just gonna add on that, that uh, the exclusion zone, and it's on screen for our viewers at home right now. But like it's obviously broad, and that is obviously because per these report. Well, number one, no one's in custody. That's confirmed. But the reports that these were gunmen in camouflage. I mean, it's just. It has to be that big, and we'd obviously, if we had a Google Maps up image, that would help. But that's obviously what we are seeing.
also wanted to jump in. Our national reporter, Austin Pollock, is doing a great job relaying info to us, is reporting that 2 tactical police are on scene, according to Austin and a 10 News journalist. That is, how big of a risk. Sorry, 2 shooters he is. 2 shooters he is reporting. So, 2 gunmen. It's been reported by that 10 News journalist. 2 shooters, 3 officers, maybe possibly 2. Yeah. So yeah. 2,
Yeah, so two gunmen involved. So it was right, gunmen, not gunman. Wow.
hiding in the bushes. So 2 gunmen hiding in the bushes. So yeah, pretty much spot on with that camouflage. They're absolutely very, very concerning. More and more thinking that this was a setup. So yeah, tactical police on scene. 2 shooters with 2 shooters shot dead. Sorry, 2 officers.
2 officers. All good. This is what happens with live coverage. No, man, it's all, yeah.
Yeah.
2 officers, 3 officers involved, 2 officers dead, 2 shooters allegedly involved.
Correct, and we've got multiple tactical units on scene, as well as specialist teams, medical aircraft, and obviously that big significant backup. Yeah, quite an ongoing situation. I think we are starting to see a bit of a clearer picture now.
Yeah, and we would expect, without giving you an exact time, we would expect someone in Queensland Police and or Queensland Government to address what has happened here tonight. It would make sense, and I think given the extremely serious nature of this, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they do something tonight. Would you be surprised?
Sure, there'll be something. I'm still trying to get that email across to that media staff. They've probably clocked off for the night, but I'm not sure if they would. Of course, this ongoing situation developing 4 hours away from, about 4.5 hours away from Brisbane. It's also 7 said that there'll be, more and more information coming out in their morning sunrise bulletin.
Yeah, and we'll have them for you right now tonight, because it's happening tonight. And if you've been watching since we began this coverage about 25 minutes, almost half an hour ago, you would see how many developments have come in live in terms of 2 reported deaths, 2 confirmed deaths, 2 gunmen allegedly involved, a 3rd officer shot dead, and of course that exclusion zone being set up. That's all happening live right now in real time for you.
In the bushes, which makes it even more and more concerning to conduct a missing person check right there, and to, for the act of the police officers doing their jobs to be shot in the line of fire. It's extremely just devastating. And I'm sure the premier, police minister, as I mentioned, will say something. Will there be I'm not sure if there'll be a sort of public funeral, but there's another Queensland police officer shot.
I was just going to say, a state funeral would not be a surprise there, but of course these are really actually not. It's not early days; it's early hours here. This has just come in. We're also getting reports from the Guardian here. I'm going to read out some of what they're saying. This is also via the Australian Associated Press. They're saying police were called to a rural property at Waynes Road in Willumbilla, Western Downs region, as we've discussed before, which is about 270 kilometres west of Brisbane. This happened at about 4:45 p.m. today, local time. 2 police officers shot dead at the scene. These local officers, according to the local mayor, Western Downs Regional Council Mayor Paul McVeigh, a fourth believed to have been unharmed. So 4 police officers involved here.
Number is just extraordinary. 4 police officers from 2 shooters. That, it would be, of course, hiding in the bushes as well.
Yeah, allegedly. Queensland Ambulance Service saying the situation is ongoing. They say 4 Qs were responding to the incident. However, they were being stationed outside the declared zone, the exclusion zone. So that if that doesn't tell you something about how serious this is, I don't know what it does. The ambulance crews, 4, have to be outside the exclusion zone, and again, no one in custody. So if that doesn't tell you something about how serious this is, nothing will. Residents, no, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to jump in. Of course, it's now just coming up to 8:30 here. In Queensland, it'll get dark. I'm assuming there might be a police chopper in the air.
And it's so remote too. You have to get a chopper out from a while away.
I think from somewhere in the city. That I'm not sure whether police chopper is located, but it is quite scary. Obviously, I would, if I was a police officer now that is responding to this, what would I be feeling like?
How about the residents though, as well? I mean, if you just live there, it's extraordinary. So I'm just going to repeat from the Guardian and also via police media. Residents do have to remain indoors until further notice. Motorists, pedestrians advised to avoid the area. They haven't given any further information about that. I'm not even sure they confirmed that 2 police officers were dead. That just seems to be the general report from everyone in the media. I'm not doubting that 2 officers are dead. However, what I'm saying here is, police have given very few updates after announcing that exclusion zone. So, that's what we do know there.
And I'm probably sure they're still trying to confirm all of that info as you just mentioned. But how long ongoing will this be? Who really knows? I'm sure we'll have probably a little bit more information in the next half hour. Something might be released from the Queensland Police or any emergency services. Whether or not we get a media release from the Police Minister or Mark Ryan or the Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk, I'm assuming that there will be a press conference tomorrow, but who knows? Obviously,
if not tonight.
If the and also if those ambulances are stationed out of the PSPA area, then how serious is this? Of course, I'm sure they're taking it so seriously. How everyone would. Obviously, those residents that might have to stay inside for a very long time, as with those officers shot, there's no one in custody, and cars set on fire in that small acreage we're getting reports of. It is absolutely extraordinary.
I mean, I'm trying to almost think of anything like it, and I can't. At least in very recent memory. I mean, the reports, gunmen in camouflage, cars on fire, semi-automatic weapons. I mean, I don't know. It beggars belief. It's truly extraordinary. Police were walking up the driveway when they were shot at. That's what our reporter Austin Pollock's telling me now. Which again, rural property, but yeah.
Quite extraordinary. Obviously, if we had that PSPA area, of course, it's such a huge area, that remote area, where where they could that property would be. Of course, that would probably be released quite soon, and those officers will be announced if they are.
Mm.
Obviously, those reports of them being shot dead while
Yep.
walking up the driveway, quite serious. It's all coming to hand about this.
Yeah, it's coming to hand in real time. Look, Roman, stay with us. Just you're gonna stay on the call, but just bear with us as we just switch a few things over here. But thank you for tuning into this coverage. We're just staying on this pretty extraordinary story. Again, what we know right now: 2 police officers in Queensland shot dead while we understand walking up a driveway amid reports of a missing person. The understanding is there are 2 gunmen allegedly involved wearing camouflage. 4 police officers involved. Another one is believed to be alive, however shot. A 4th is believed to be unharmed. We understand that 3rd officer is in the hospital. Queensland Police have set up a declared exclusion zone. Ambulance crews are responding, but are outside that zone, which you understand, would tell you something about just how very serious this situation is. In addition to that, we also know that we don't know much more from what Queensland Police have told us. They've given us no update since that exclusion zone was set up, and they made that announcement. But all in all, an extraordinary development. And look, in a moment we'll get our team back for you right now. But following those developments, again, if you have questions for us, if you have tips about this, let us know right now. We're going to bring you all that live right now as it happens, because it is just just a whole thing of extraordinary developments. I mean, there's so many unknowns. It should be emphasised. There are so many things we don't know about this, but what we do know is 2 police officers are shot dead. You would assume there would be a further statement from police media and or the Queensland government about this. The officers are believed to be 1 male, 1 female. That's according to the Courier Mail. But all in all, there's so many unknowns about this right now, and we do have our political editor based in Brisbane, Austin. Not Austin. We've got Austin giving us developments, but Roman McKinnon back with us. Roman, is there any more developments from media who are reporting on this?
I haven't been able to find any more developments in the past couple of minutes. I wanted to recap some of the information. So 2 police officers have been shot. 3 police officers have been shot. 2 have been reported dead. It is being reported that there was a car fire on the small acreage, and the police officers were conducting a missing person search. There were 2 gunmen that fired at those police officers with semi-automatic rifles that were hiding in the bushes. It's also been reported by multiple media outlets that there was a car fire on scene, as I mentioned, and there was a local resident going to find out what was happening, and they have also gotten shot. So
yeah, that one's more of a shaky element there. That's one we don't have confirmation on, but what we do know is there is at least one third officer in hospital, a 4th one unharmed. In terms of that resident element, we've had a resident heard something or something like that. That's kind of a shaky element here, but we're actually going to stay on it though, because we should keep following that for you. Let's bring in now Law and Government Editor, hosted between Parks Place and Capitol Hill, also based in Queensland, Stuart Jeffrey. Stuart, this is extraordinary right now from what we've just heard. I mean, it's not fully unheard of for 1 or more police officers to be shot dead in Australia, but still, when it happens, it's just big news, to say the very least.
Yeah, and if when it does happen, it's usually just the one. If you've got at least two, potentially three, then I think it's definitely one of the more severe police shootings we've had in that. I want to say in the last 3 or 4 decades, definitely.
Yeah. Now, the other thing, of course, is about what's allegedly happened here regarding the gunmen in camouflage and supposedly something that sounded like a semi-automatic weapon. I mean, I know, and we've covered this before. We've covered this back when Shinzo Abe died. How strict weapons are here in Australia, and of course, not to say that they aren't used in shootings. They are. We cover it frequently, but on a rural property like this, I mean, a rural shooting, it's not unheard of course, but it's just another kind of layer to this, extraordinary story.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Queensland, we do have our own firearms regulations, as does every other state and territory. We unfortunately don't know what exact weapons have been used here, but I guarantee it's probably it's most likely to be illegal possession of firearms.
Yeah,
Admittedly, it is a rural community, so you could potentially have legally owned firearms, but given that there has been a history of illegal firearms use in that region of Queensland, I'm saying that's probably most likely at this point in time.
yeah. Western Downs region, for those who are just joining us in Queensland. It's a very remote area. You can just see based on the footage that we've been able to bring you from via Channel 7. Very little footage coming out of the area, but it's certainly a very remote area. Stuart, I've discussed this with Roman before, but your take, given the seriousness of the situation, would you be surprised if we had a press conference or big further statement from the Queensland government, Queensland Police, or both?
Yeah, I know Roman said before we could see one tonight. I reckon that is possible. Remembering that Queensland is an hour behind New South Wales and Victoria.
Yeah,
So
so
it is
where
around
I am right now, it's
8:40
just
p.m.
past
here.
9:30. It's 8:30 over there where you guys are, so it's not
It
too
is more
late
likely to see
relatively.
something here. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So just either of you, we're going to keep feeding information as we come through. We've also got working on us behind the scenes right now, Austin Pollock, our national reporter. All three of you are based in Queensland, or of course in Victoria. We don't have any media on, or we do. There's at least one media on the ground, but there is that exclusion zone set up, and then ambulances are outside that exclusion zone. Keep your questions, keep your comments coming in right now. Keep your tip-offs. We're going to try to accurately report this as much as possible. Roman, again, we did this before, but for those just joining us, because we have had a few developments in the past few minutes, what do we know that we can confirm about what's happened here?
That three police officers have been shot at a property in Weambilla in the Western Downs. That's around 30 to 45 minutes away from Chinchilla, which is 4 hour drive from Brisbane, which is Toowoomba and Roma, in between that area. There's a couple of unconfirmed things, which are obviously allegedly. Two have been reported dead. A third female officer has escaped. That they were checking in on a person. They were checking in on a missing person in that property. There was a car fire also on that property. There's two gunmen that hid in bushes and then opened fire with semi-automatic rifles.
Again, we kind of don't know much more than that, and that's half of that is unconfirmed anyway. There's a lot of speculatory elements here. So yeah, I asked this to Roman earlier, but Stuart, your take again. Given that ambulance crews, and it's a huge exclusion zone, by the way, given the 4 crews that are attending the ambulance crews are actually outside of that zone. I mean, that must tell you a lot about how serious this situation is. Again, no one in custody with the 2 people allegedly involved in terms of gunmen.
Yeah, I think one of the questions we're going to be asking in the coming days is, how did they get possession of those firearms? I think it's definitely going to come down to the type of firearms being used. and as I said before, this area has a history of illegal possession of firearms, so I do wonder if there's going to be further information that comes out regarding some sort of criminal ring operating in the area.
Yeah,
Because
there
we
was
haven't
there was
that in
some
the past.
reports about some kind of gang involvement. Nothing on that stretch even remotely confirmed yet, as we should stress here to you and the media. But certainly not out of the question in terms of illegal possession. If it is legal, that would be a whole separate question. We have, of course, extremely strict gun laws in this country after Port Arthur, but there are ways. Some might not even know this, but there are many ways, especially in regional, remote areas, where you would be able to lawfully get a or multiple firearms, and so depending on whether it does turn out it was legal or illegal possession, that in itself is going to be a very interesting conversation. Yeah.
I'm just going over the Weapons Act of 1990 right now, which is the gun control legislation in Queensland, and just going through that section by section. And from what I'm seeing here, it definitely there's given the use of semi-automatic weapons, it's not going to be obviously the most severe. You're looking at I think maximum you're looking is like potentially 7-10 years. There are more severe charges that can be laid, but not for semi-automatic weapons, or at least the kind that we think they could be using. Of course, they could be using military-grade firearms, which again is a whole other issue. But I think again it is going to come down to: is there a network behind this? Is there a gang behind this? Of course, I know a lot of people in the media are going to start pushing that there could be, again, because that sensitizes, that makes it more dramatic. But I think, as you said, we should stress that at this point in time, we just don't know if there is gang involvement or some other force behind this, whether it is individual lone actors or there is some other thing going on in the background. We just don't know.
Channel 10 is now reporting that that initial Courier Mail report about active shooters in bushland were in camo. And yeah, there's no one in custody, so it is fair to say these are active shooters involved here. Huge exclusion zone. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that exclusion zone gets bigger. It's remote. It's a large remote area, but still there is no one in custody here. And, of course, while you guys are, an hour behind the east, it's getting late there. I mean, it's going to get... Is it dark outside now? I mean, in where you are?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's currently storming where I am, so...
It's dark out here at 8:45, so yeah.
Yeah, so in a remote area like that, you'd have to have a police helicopter with a spotlight, and you would have to have extremely, the highest. I'm not sure if either of you know whatever the term it is for your state officers, but your highest tactical services there, your most senior kind of police area to get involved in this. You can't just send another local officer out. Again, reportedly 2 gunmen in camouflage out in a remote area with 2 officers shot dead.
And I think one important thing there as well, the fact that they are in camo does suggest that there could be some, and again, I want to stress that we just don't know, this is just speculation, but it does suggest there could be some sort of, could potentially have some planning behind it. Whether again,
you don't usually have camouflage outfits that are random, and it was reported they were shot while going up the driveway. So that would probably remove the speculation of there was some kind of a struggle or an incident.
And not just that, but also the fact that why was that neighbor going up the driveway in the first place? Did the neighbor hear some noise? Again, we just don't know. There's more information here we just don't have at this point in time. But it does raise some serious questions. Yeah,
some extremely serious questions here.
And with regards to deploying, I know that there's obviously likely to be weapons teams, of course, in Brisbane. But again, they'll take about 4 hours to get out there by car. Although I guess they'll probably get it by helicopter because it'll be faster. I'm not sure if there's anything in Roma or I think there could be some in Toowoomba as well. So there are some.
Toowoomba, you guys know Queensland more than me, but Toowoomba is the biggest city, town, regional centre, whatever you want to call it, to this area, Western Downs area.
Yes, but because it is so regional, I wouldn't be surprised if there's something at Roma as well, because Roma's in that particular area, Roma is also a bit of a hub for the police as well in the area. But of course,
Yeah.
like the fact that it is dark, potentially storms in the area. I don't know the weather right now up there, but there's definitely storms in the area. Again, it's only about 2 hours west of or northwest of Toowoomba, and the fact that it's camo means we could be going into the morning, potentially even into the day tomorrow.
The other element there is that it is, according to these reports that we've been bringing you all night, that a car was reportedly burnt or set on fire. And I'm reading out one comment, they waited for police to come. That's the speculation. The car fire seems to be based on multiple reports. But just all in all, I mean, we stress the words reportedly and allegedly should preface what we're about to say here. But 2 gunmen in camouflage, police officers were walking up a driveway, a car burnt or set on fire. It does really sound premeditated. It does sound like an ambush here. Four officers involved, by the way. 2 shot dead. It's extraordinary. I really, the whole thing is just, it doesn't sound like what we may have heard report for. A police gun was grabbed and there was some kind of struggle. It just does sound like an ambush from what we do know and what we've been able to confirm and what we've heard via reports as well.
I just wanted to jump in quickly. Those police officers, those high intensity, those critical care paramedics would be trying to get there as fast as they could. Also, those high critical incident response team police officers, as well as multiple emergency services. Of course, you said with Polair's spotlight. Of course, as we head just about to 9 o'clock here in Queensland, it's really a race against time, especially with residents in that PSPA involved area. How much sleep would they get tonight? Fearing for the worst. There is a gunman still on the loose that has shot already 2 police officers.
And Stuart, my understanding is, in addition to it being dark, it's pretty stormy as well.
That's correct. I might actually check the weather next, but I'm just doing.
Yeah, you do that. I'm not streaming anything more on this computer. It's a disaster already.
Yes,
no,
definitely one.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Australian right now, and there is more information. According to the Australian and reports that they've received from the police, the men in the area have shot at the police helicopter. They are armed with shotguns and rifles.
Did you shot at the police helicopter?
According to the Australian, this is the
direct
quote. There were reports that the gunmen armed with shotguns and rifles had opened up on the police helicopter. In addition,
wow.
when the initial police went up the driveway to start with, and 2 of them were killed, their pistols have since been taken by the 2 gunmen.
Wow.
So
oh my god.
Ammunition.
Wow. I don't know what to say there. Roman, you got any reaction to that? I'm stunned. That's just extraordinary. I cannot believe that.
Absolutely. I was just going to jump in with the weather forecast. There's about to be a storm that's hitting me. That's not quite relevant, but that area, that kind of chinchilla area, if you're familiar with Queensland, in about an hour or so, there will be a pretty big rain, or not big, but a bit of a large system headed towards that area. Shooting at the helicopter as well makes it even more confronting that they are dangerous and on the loose. Incredible. It's just incredible developments here.
The timing of it right now, as Ram pointed out, there is currently rain heading towards significant rain at Toowoomba and Brisbane, and that is going to complicate police organisation as well. Having that rain in the area, it will complicate the use of helicopters, which I think is also important to point out as well.
Yeah,
that the weather isn't just going to be affecting the local area; it will also affect potentially deploying helicopters and other reinforcements from Toowoomba and from Brisbane.
Yeah, that's just, yeah. So I just want to repeat what we just heard from there. If you're just joining us from Stewart via the Australian. After these 2 officers were shot dead, again a third one shot, a fourth one unharmed, their pistols have been taken, reportedly, and they are now shooting at a police helicopter. And of course, they need a police helicopter out there. It's a large remote area, it's dark, and no one is in custody. So, all in all, I'm just, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. This is definitely, and it's sounding more and more and more like an ambush.
There are at least 16 more police in the area.
Sorry, was that 16 or 16?
16. There was an extraction
Wow.
team sent in so that the third police officer who was uninjured, the 16-strong extraction team was sent in. So that I'm going to guess that they've probably deployed most of the reserves from the area, most of the police force from Roma and from Dalby to get involved. And of course, another thing which I've just, again, this is still from the Australian as I'm reading this article, that the New South Wales police instigated the missing person inquiry, not the local police force. So we're now looking at potentially interstate issues.
Oh, great!
Well.
Just add more developments into. I mean, this whole thing, and this is where this was the first reports we got that they were checking on a missing person. We understand the property was not abandoned or just unoccupied until about a week ago, and then this has happened. So there was a car burnt, reportedly. I mean, if all of this is true, these reports, just the basic facts here, Stuart, I don't see how anyone could say it was not an ambush from if what these reports are saying end up being confirmed and are true.
Exactly. Oh, and then of course that then raises the question of what was that neighbour doing? If that neighbour, there are some reports, conflicting reports that says there was no neighbour coming in. These are unconfirmed, but whatever that neighbour was doing as well, I think there should be a look into seeing what was going on there, because I believe the neighbour arrived before
the whole neighbour element's pretty shaky here.
Yes.
But still, it just adds on to, you know, and I guess it also kind of shows you how little you know, accurate information we can get out pretty fast. We're getting, you know, reports here, because it's such a remote area, and it's also, you know, a bit of a black spot in terms of connection to. You're not going to get much out of there, and that was evident in the fact that a Channel 7 reporter was doing a live cross from his phone when he went live. It's, you know, an area where, you know, you're not going to get much information out of, but this is what we do know. We've heard from Queensland Police, Queensland Ambulance briefly. Nothing from the Queensland government yet, unless, Roman, you've seen anything?
I'm actually just on their media statement page, and nothing has come through. I'm also signed up to their ministerial media statement. Nothing has come through yet. I just got a word back from one of the contacts in there. I'm not sure if Minister Ryan, Mark Ryan, who is the police minister, will hold a press conference.
Or at least say something on social media at the very least. I mean, you can keep refreshing your social media. And, you know, because as a police minister, this is probably the most serious thing you could be doing in that ministerial role.
Message from the advisor saying there will be a press conference tomorrow in Chinchilla. So with the Premier and the Mark Ryan, the police minister.
So you just cut out there at the start. Can you just repeat what you said about advisor, sorry?
Saying that the Mark Ryan advisor, who's the police minister, saying that there will be a press conference tomorrow in Chinchilla. So how long this may go through.
We'd expect that pretty early tomorrow morning. Number one, you'd have to get to the area in the first place, but number two, of course, you have to make sure it's safe. You can't send a premier into an active shooter zone. You can't do that. So, and Chinchilla's further away from. Hang on, sorry. Do you know how far it is away off the top of your head from Waimela?
4 hours from Brisbane, and there also will be likely be a press conference in Brisbane tonight, to be confirmed. So, yeah, it's very all of these new details, you know, coming to hand very swiftly.
Chinchilla itself, of course, being roughly only 30 minutes away. Again, this is all like a 30-minute triangle between Miles, Condamine, and Chinchilla. 30 minutes to an hour separating these three towns in a triangle. And then in the southeast of that, between Condamine and Chinchilla, you've got Williambilla, which is where the incident is currently going on. Although, of course, that exclusion zone does extend a significant way towards both of those communities.
And the other thing was, I was just going to say, apart from being 4 hours from Brisbane, how far is Chinchilla from Williambilla, Roman or Stuart?
If it's around half an hour to 45 minutes.
Okay, so it's further away from this exclusion zone, and I mean, if there's an exclusion zone, it'd be hard to imagine how a gunmen, again, there's multiple, could get in or out here. But still, the odds are against you. If you're a police searching right now, I mean, you're kind of stuffed here. It's dark, obviously. The weather is, from what I've seen here, terrible. There's multiple gunmen involved here, with, apart from the guns they reportedly shot the police officers with, they've now taken the pistols. You're seeing, by the way, we've just got this up. This is the weather in the area. If you look at the blue dot, that's Williambilla. So you can see how terrible those conditions are right now if you're an officer out there searching or something like that. All in all, the odds are really against you right now if you're trying to get something done, right now, tonight.
I just wanted to mention that press conference would likely start in around half an hour. So at 9.
We'll stay with you then on that, yeah.
Yeah, so I believe the Mark Ryan, the police minister, maybe the police commissioner, and possibly the Queensland Premier, Anastasia Palaszczuk. Of course, that's all unconfirmed, but
there is one tomorrow, is what we can safely confirm.
Yes, in Chinchilla, which is around 30 to 45 minutes away from Williambilla. But how long or how far that PSPA declaration may go. Who knows if it might get that area of land will be gain bigger, like grow. That declaration will get larger. There's still quite a few unknowns right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to stay on that with you if we do have that press conference happening shortly. But again, there is one tomorrow with the Queensland Premier, Queensland Police Minister, Mark Ryan, isn't it?
Ryan, that's him.
Yeah, so Anastasia Palaszczuk tomorrow morning. Stuart, just on the logistics of having a Premier in what could very well still be close to an active shooter zone, the precautions would be extraordinary if they're going to do that, even if it's 45 minutes away, still.
Yes, and especially if these aren't lone actors, if there is something bigger here, a gang involved, then potentially you are looking at a bigger issue. If these are lone actors, there is a lot less likely that they'll actually take against the Premier. Even as it stands, even if there is gang involvement, it's still unlikely that they will go after the Premier because she will have a significant security detail. Obviously, police, potentially we could even see military involved if it goes on for long enough.
Yeah,
like the siege of Link Cafe from many years ago, we could see the involvement of.
Yeah, of course, that one though there's obviously different elements there, and of course that one, it was one lone gunman. He was boarded up in a single place. There were hostages, of course, but very different elements there. But of course, they knew where he was there. It was during the middle of the day. You're not out in remote Queensland. I mean, I don't even think I've ever been to remote Queensland, but I can just visualise what a remote Queensland at night with storms area would be like. It's not where you can find people allegedly in camouflage too.
Not just that, military grade camouflage. So we're looking at people either they're ex-military, they've got military context, or they've gone military surplus shops. So again, the fact that we've got military grade camouflage, police pistols, shotguns, semi-automatic rifles. We are looking at something serious here. So, and again, this is why I lean towards gang involvement. Although, again, we just don't know enough.
We
at the
don't
same
know,
time.
and even if it's not gang involvement, as some have speculated, ambush is what it's almost pretty much safe to confirm here, based on the elements we do know.
I just wanted to also say about that, that kind of scare. You know, how big of an impact, you know, it's obviously getting ahead of ourselves here, but, you know, the Shinzo Abe situation, you know, how many, obviously that's a big call, but, you know, how many security detail would be enough to make sure the Premier and all of the ministers are safe and away from the danger?
Yeah,
I'm
and of
sure.
course, you know, it's obviously very far away from Brisbane, of course, but if you do have if you're thinking of having, you know, the sitting premier 45 minutes away, you obviously got to take any look. Obviously, you know, you usually do take precautions in any event with a sitting premier or leader or minister. But that's where, you know, and just by the way, just to get into the area, how are you gonna do that? I mean, it's far away, isn't it? Extremely.
I would caution against using the Shinzo Abe shooting as a comparison because it's just the circumstances are very, very different. As we said with Link Cafe, although you can definitely draw comparisons.
I mean, there's Link Cafe is closer to this than Shinzo Abe, and the fact it was in Australia, yes. Just on that basis. I mean, the Shinzo Abe, just we'll drop that in a sec. But I was just going to say that's, as we covered it live, you know, probably the most extraordinary circumstances you could ever imagine with that bloody homemade weapon. But regarding the guns here, and I don't, Stuart, are you a gun expert? I mean, I'm not, so I don't.
Well, definitely. I have definitely used firearms before.
Alright, so that puts you one up on us. That puts you one up on us here. In terms of it being reportedly a semi-automatic, and then also a pistol or pistols being taken. I mean, it sounds like these alleged gunmen are stocked up here. They're on the move, but they've got everything. They've got camouflage. They've got their own weapons and the weapons of the officers they killed. And they're reportedly firing at a helicopter.
Yes, but you've got to remember, of course, that semi-automatic weapons are one pull of the trigger equals one round gun. These aren't automatic, and they might not even be select fire where you can change between semi-auto and full auto. So we do have to remember that although these are definitely serious firearms, they aren't the worst firearms that could be used, depending on the type of firearm being used. These definitely aren't fully automatic, which would definitely be a lot more.
I was going to say, sorry to interject, I was going to say, is it possible multiple guns can be mistaken for, like, semi-automatic guns?
One thing, we do often see is exactly that, firearms being confused. Remember, South Australia, the police, South Australia, where they had, and Australia and a few other states I know have banned the use of, I'm having a mental blank here, gel blasters. They've banned these gel blasters because gel blasters look like actual weapons because they're meant to be recreations. So again, we do have to, I
think you've covered it extensively in the US too, where toy guns can be banned, although that's on a very separate stench here. But those something blasters, I know what you're talking about. You know, you really have to be careful here. No one has seen it. It should be said, no one here has seen what these guns look like. We don't know what they look like. All we know, there are guns and the pistols reportedly being taken. We can all visualize a police pistol pretty well enough. So yeah.
And the one I think the comparison that comes to mind for me is the AR-15. Which is the one people often associate with US shootings, even though in US shootings pistols are more common than an AR-15. Other firearms are more common than the AR-15. The AR-15 is often, like, there's now a phrase, AR-15 like weapon, because so many other firearms, the members of the public think that, oh, it's a semi-automatic weapon, therefore it must be an AR-15, or therefore it must be this gun. So we do have to remember that we have to be careful, because I doubt anyone's gotten a close-up image of what the firearms are. We do.
I imagine that would have been spreading well online if we had that.
Yes, I think you're right.
Yeah, no, exactly, and so like we really truly do not know about the gun element here, apart from the fact there were police pistols reportedly taken, and we all know pretty well enough the basics of what a police pistol looks like. It's nowhere near what you'd call a semi-automatic weapon or anything serious like an AR-15 or AR-15-like weapon. You use that term. But all in all, extraordinary. And look, we'll just bring up again for you. It's a bit shaky, but it's all we've had from today. That vision via Channel 7 of the scene, and it's just so remote. I mean, to get into resort, and it seems like, Stuart, as we discussed before, Toowoomba is pretty much the closest large area to this, and that's still fairly ages away from this area.
Yeah, about 2 hours away.
Yeah, 2 hours, and Queensland's a huge state, as we all know. So
I was having a conversation with someone with Twitter earlier, and Queensland's about 7.5 times the size of Victoria. So if people in Victoria, the size comparison is like, you could probably drive across certain parts of the state from coast to New South Wales in like 2 hours. That's the difference we're talking about here in terms of distance. That this for people in Victoria would be like 2 hours you can drive across a fair part of the state. 2 hours in Queensland, it's a lot. Like, it seems a lot shorter just because of the size of the state.
Yeah, of course, and you know, so many and without getting too off topic here, you know, I mean, I saw a travel video only a few weeks ago about going through remote Queensland, and it's just so, especially in an area like this where you're talking about, it's, you know, hours away from Toowoomba, and I'm thinking already Toowoomba's considered regional enough, you know, where the hell is this area? And so it's going to be an area that is not going to be hard to find in regular circumstances when they're wearing camouflage, but at night, in storms, with an exclusion zone set up, I mean, how would you be feeling if you're a resident? I mean, I know it's exactly not the most populated area, but still, just a terrifying situation right now, you'd have to imagine.
Yeah, as someone who's gone spotlighting in regional Queensland, of course not in this area, but down towards Gundawindi, Yalarbin, Texas, Queensland, which is
let's. If we don't want to talk about Texas when it comes to guns here, let's just, you know, careful.
Wales border, like having gone spotlighting and going after rabbits and the like down there, I do definitely have some sense of what it feels to be out rural at night with firearms around. Of course, when I'm out spotlighting, you know, people using firearms are friends and family, so a bit different. But yes, I do. Like, I understand the terms of, you know, it's incredibly quiet, but, you know, you do have wildlife, and again, this is a farming community as well, so who knows what's in the area when it comes to wildlife and the like. I think that's also something to factor in. And of course, this is basically bushland and farmland, so having camouflage again in this area, it's not an urban area, it's camouflage is going to be, especially at night, like, they're going to be having to rely on police spotlights and the like to really do anything in this area. And
again, as you've been covering, Austin. Austin's been doing some great coverage as well. But Roman, we know there's going to be a press conference tomorrow morning with Anastasia Palaszczuk, but we do also know that there could be one at 9:30 your time, which is 10:30 our time, so in about 20-ish minutes on this. I don't know if the Premier would be involved, but you'd expect maybe the police commissioner, a police spokesperson, police minister, maybe, we stress. But, I mean, it makes sense, again, given the seriousness of the situation. It is an active situation, to have a conference on this, even if it's just a short one, just to provide some kind of update on what we do know. It would probably be very helpful, and something I think, you know, as I said, it does kind of make sense that they would provide if they do.
Beginning to feel that this scheduled press conference in about 20 minutes, the police emergency services haven't released anything so they can announce something at this press conference, which still hasn't really.
Yeah, and look, in fairness, usually in emergency situations, a press conference is, fully confirmed like 5 minutes before it happens. I mean, without going off topic, the resignations of 2 UK PMs this year, it's all been, done very last minute. But this is, very, very. It is going to be late when it does happen.
Yeah, and I just got confirmation from a media advisor that Minister Mark Ryan, the police minister, will be there, and the police commissioner. So really, a police
tonight is that?
Yes, that's tonight.
Great. Okay.
So I'm assuming the premiere tomorrow, but I'll continue to keep you updated on that. Obviously, in an unfolding situation, and I think that they will be announcing something tonight. They've just been holding off on all of the media releases and things.
And of
like
course,
that.
when an announcement comes from a premier as well, it has a lot of gravity. So I imagine she would be being briefed on this situation either right now or just before she does speak tomorrow morning. But what we're hearing is that there will be something on this tonight from the Police Minister Mark Ryan and the Police Commissioner there in Queensland. Stuart, we've covered many live press conferences together. Given the seriousness of this situation, and I imagine how many times we would hear we don't have details on that or we can't confirm that, this would be a pretty short one when it does happen.
Yeah, I think especially because it's not going to be resolved tonight. We will be going into tomorrow. Given the circumstances, I reckon this will go into tomorrow, so we're not going to get everything tonight. Actually, one question I do, a bit unrelated, but about this, I don't know whether Roman can get police contacts on this, because I know you've still got some in the media and the like. Because one thing I do want to know about is this missing person report that's instigated the entire situation with the police being involved, because of course, the fact that they've sent out 4 officers, which means 2 cars, all armed with pistols, so clearly, like they might have, like, what did they go into thinking about this missing person? Like, I think that's something to think about as well. Was what sort of person were they looking for? Were they looking for a fugitive, or were they?
And of course, you said it might have been New South Wales police involvement. So if it's interstate developments, I mean.
Yeah, but like what I'm talking about here is, like, was it someone who's fleeing from the police, or has someone been kidnapped? A missing person could mean either of those things. So what sort of missing person?
Yes, it's a very vague term here.
Yes.
Interesting report from the ABC, who, by the way, they've only just said their article on their website, their main one, unless my phone's too slow, and it can be sometimes, but it was updated as of half an hour ago. They still haven't really said police have died. They have said a local resident has been shot.
Yes, I believe that is the neighbour that we were talking about that was unconfirmed before. I believe so.
So that's possibly 4 people shot then. 4 officers, 2 dead, a 3rd shot, 1 unharmed, and then a neighbour, local resident, shot as well.
Yes, well, there was talk of that neighbour coming around. I think it was, I believe, 4 p.m. or something, that a neighbour went around and was shot. And I do remember, and again, we don't know enough details about this neighbour.
We know very little here. We couldn't even tell you if what their gender is. We know very little about this.
Before it was known that this person was from New South Wales, I did see some discussion that was this neighbour the missing person, but clearly now this neighbour is not the missing person they were investigating. So that is something I think we can rule out now, is that this missing person and the neighbour are 2 separate people. Because that was some speculation from earlier, from before I joined this live coverage, that I did see spoken about online, were these the same people, and we clearly now know that the missing person and the neighbour are not. And
of course, this was until about a week ago, it was abandoned, or at least it was unoccupied. This property is what we have also been hearing, and so again, you kind of you imagine what's kind of happened here, just based off half of these elements we're about to say, are speculatory, other are definitely confirmed. But from potentially, if it is an ambush, 2 gunmen in camouflage, with potentially New South Wales police involved, on a property that was unoccupied until a week ago, with a car then reportedly set on fire. It truly just does sound like an ambush, and this happened again at 4:45 p.m. local time. That's 5:45 p.m. Sydney Melbourne time, and then it's kind of developed from that. The 6 p.m. news local time, we should stress, was covering it there in Queensland as well, and then it's just continued to develop until about 8:30 when the reports went really mainstream. 9 o'clock we had heard officers has died, a male and a female officer, and now as we get ready to approach this reported 10:30, 9:30 press conference, a neighbour has also reportedly been shot, a third officer also shot in hospital, a fourth officer unharmed, gunmen on the loose, 2 gunmen in camouflage on the loose, reportedly with the pistols of the dead officers, shooting at police helicopters at night in remote Queensland with storms going on. All in all, just an extraordinary scene here. Yeah.
I do have more from Seven. Seven has also issued another article from Seven reporting from with the AAP that in addition to police services, there is 1 rescue helicopter and 2 life flight helicopters also in the area. So not just are there 4 ambulance crews, but 2 life flight helicopters and a Rescue 500 helicopter as well.
Yeah, so who are they shooting at here? Is it a police helicopter or that's just, oh god, I don't want to imagine it.
I'm lucky going to say police helicopter.
Given the spotlight we would assume exists.
Yeah,
but we don't know. We really don't know. We're gonna be upfront on that. We don't know half the things here, because there's just very little that can be confirmed out of a really remote situation here. But we're going to obviously continue covering this for you. We're going to stay with this story, right now, and yeah. So we are expecting Police Minister Mark Ryan and the Queensland Police Commissioner to speak in 10 or so minutes. We will bring that to you live when it does happen. I can promise you that. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. Roman, have we? I keep asking you this, but I'm genuinely curious. Have we heard any more about what we might see? Less so with tonight's press conference, but tomorrow, in terms of would we even know early in the morning? I'm trying to stress the difference between Queensland time and Eastern Daylight Time, but I would assume it'd have to be an early morning one. You'd want to get these developments out as fast as possible from the Premier because I imagine that a lot would happen overnight.
Yeah, obviously huge sort of unfolding of events. I just tried to contact a New South Wales police regarding if they had any information on the missing person. Obviously, I just sent that email. So
we'll keep you following that. Yep.
Yes, yeah, but it's quite ongoing case. This has made really world international headlines. News Hub in New Zealand is reporting it, saying reports of police officers shot during heavy sustained gunfire in Queensland. So we will continue to follow this for quite some time. Obviously a huge night ahead, and obviously I believe we will see something, a bigger announcement coming up in 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, and as I said, we'll bring that to you live if possible when it does happen, and it should happen soon-ish. But yeah. So let's just bring up a little graphic right now. What we do know from this was sent through a short time ago. 2 police officers shot dead. 2 gunmen reportedly in camouflage. Police were allegedly responding to a report of an incident of some sort, maybe missing persons. A large exclusion zone is in place. We also know helicopters and emergency services and tactical police are en route. Residents in the area reported hearing something that sounded like semi-automatic weapon or weapons. A car reported on fire when police were called. And then yourself, we can just bring it up for you, the exclusion zone, which we know still remains. It may have even gotten bigger, or it certainly could get bigger, and it is a huge exclusion zone right now. It is a huge area. It is a hugely remote area.
Definitely, I think as you can see on your screen, the helicopters and emergency services are en route, with the tactical police also en route there, and we've heard unconfirmed reports on those gunmen shooting at the police helicopters, which is obviously very confronting about all of those kind of things happening as well, and all of those kind of things unfolding onto the night. It's been about 3.5 hours now since this was first reported. As I mentioned just before, it is making world headlines in New Zealand already about this. So this is very serious, and we still don't know, a lot of information. Actually, we really know how many gunmen there are, how many people were shot. Of course, we're going to see so much more information coming in throughout the night, and I'm sure we will be absolutely all across it tonight and into the morning.
Yeah, we'll continue to follow this overnight, but right now, of course, with that press conference coming up, that is something that will be brought to you tonight when it does happen, and we hope it happens soon, but I guess it's kind of a waiting thing here. So yeah. That's pretty much just simply put there. We're just really just waiting to hear what we're going to know. Again, if you have any tips about this, if you have any questions about what we know, please do let us know. We're getting this information at the same time you are. We have just been, flooded into the newsroom with developments. We've got some great work behind the scenes from our Austin Pollock, who is also in Queensland, as well. Of course, we have, I'm sure Connor, our 4K, is working behind the scenes. We've had Stuart Jerry here all night and continuing to be here. Our political editor, Roman McKinnon. Well, look, Roman, we're staying on the air right now. I should preface that. Both of us are in school holidays, so there's no issue on that end. But look, it's on a really serious note. I would suspect this would be dominating the national media tomorrow, and the Courier Mail's front page. Would expect that out in a few hours. We are going to see a lot more on this, and the developments have continued coming in again. 4 police officers involved, 3 shot, 2 killed, and potentially a third person, a resident, also reportedly shot.
Absolutely incredible. This situation happening. National news, international news that is still ongoing throughout the night. Yeah, you can see the exclusion zone on your screen now. It's pretty imminent from now that it may grow bigger, that exclusion zone. But yeah, I believe all of those things as a factor that is, coming in. Help me out a bit here. They're really coming into the newsroom now. They're developing as we happen, and again, a press conference shortly is what we understand. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's with the police commissioner and police minister. So, Police Minister Mark Ryan and the Queensland Police Commissioner Katarina Carroll are expected to speak in moments in Brisbane. We've also got a scheduled press conference in Chinchilla tomorrow. So all of these...
And that one's with the Premier.
Yeah, we're expecting the Premier to speak tomorrow there.
I wouldn't be surprised if we have a late night, just a statement from Anastasia Palaszczuk as well. That would truly not surprise me. But it again makes perfect sense in a situation like this. Stuart, you're back with us. Stuart Jeffrey, of course, our law and government editor, host between Parks Place and Capitol Hill, also based in Queensland. Do we have anything more about what might happen here? Unless you want to tell me something different, no one is in custody yet.
No, still no one in custody. However, the Special Emergency Response Team has been deployed. Now, that is the equivalent of SWAT in Queensland. So again, the Special Emergency Response Team has been deployed. I don't have information on how many officers have been deployed, but at least some officers have been deployed.
I think it's fair to say a lot.
Yes, potentially, and again, I don't know about this in particular, but the SCRT does have 2 Lanco Bearcats, which are basically armored personnel carriers used by the police force. I don't know if either of those have been deployed, but it is possible that we could see these either of the APCs be deployed if it does go on for a prolonged period of time. So again, the Special Emergency Response Team has been deployed to Williambilla.
Yeah. So
I wanted to say
that's not a surprise there. So yeah, and I'm sure more are actually being deployed right now. It would not surprise me in that regard. So let's we should wait right now for that police presser with the police media as well. But they're going to provide an update on this emergency declaration. We're still waiting. We'd love to be able to bring it to you in a sec, but it should be in the next 2 minutes or so is when it is scheduled. So again, that will be brought to you live when it happens. We will do our best to make sure you can actually get that as soon as possible. Please do, of course, bear with us. This, of course, being an emergency situation with ongoing developments. It's to put it simply, it's easier said than done trying to bring all that information to you. But we will, of course, do our very best in that regard. So yeah, do stay with us on this as we continue to monitor what exactly is happening here in Queensland with this situation. There's a lot of, we should of course stress, unconfirmed developments here, and there's a lot of stuff on social media. We're going to try to do our best to avoid that speculation, but if you do have tips for us, please do let us know. We're going to try to do our work to confirm that. Also, of course, Roman, we were just discussing it before regarding New South Wales Police, something about their kind of involvement. I don't think you've gotten a response from them back yet, which is understandable. It's about almost 10:30 on the east right now, but just it comes back into that missing person element, doesn't it? And of course, questions about whether it's going to be a missing person as in, is the suspect's missing person, or is it just something completely unrelated to that? We really don't know, do we?
A lot of unknowns at the moment. I have not got a response back from New South Wales Police yet. It's still such an unfolding situation. Of course, with this gunman, maybe they're still on the loose, and if they are having any hostages, it's such an unknown.
Yeah, it's another speculatory element there. But I think, and Stuart, I imagine you'd say the same here. That it seems like the most likely situation here is 2 gunmen. Neither of them are, not a hostage there. It just seems like it'd just be 2 gunmen who have ambushed them, and whether there's a gang involvement or not, that's all speculation there. But 2 gunmen, regardless of gang or not, seems to be the general consensus in the media and the reports and what we've been getting and bringing to you at home tonight.
Correct. I also want to say we are getting our first international coverage. The News Hub of New Zealand is now reporting on the case. So I believe Roman said earlier that we will see being on the international media, and we are getting that now. I also can confirm that there are at least 5 helicopters in the area. The Rescue 500 helicopter, which is the Queensland government air rescue helicopter, 2 life flight helicopters, and 2 police choppers at least. We can confirm at least 5 helicopters are in the area.
Roman, you've got a development from New South Wales Police?
So they have got back to me. They said that please direct all your inquiries to QPS regarding this traumatic incident. Our thoughts are with them right now, and we will assist them where possible. So then maybe they're just trying to deflect it at the
Yeah,
moment.
they.
but
I mean,
maybe
that
they're
it
just
come. Yeah, it's all.
unconfirmed reports
That is a
that, you know.
speculatory element regarding the potential of a sort of New South Wales involvement there. But of course, I imagine a lot of, just from at the end there, their thoughts are with Queensland Police. I imagine we're going to be seeing statements like that from all police, if not very soon. We're expecting that press conference to start in, like, we're talking a matter of a few seconds right now. Again, we're going to bring that to you as soon as it starts. But please do bear with us. We're just waiting for that right now. So there's been a lot of speculation about who has died here. All we can tell you right now, independently verified, 2 police officers. Anything else is pure speculation at this stage. We may have an update in a second, but yeah, Stuart, as you know, you and I have both covered with misinformation. It's all speculation at this stage, bar 2 police officers being killed.
Yeah, exactly. We just don't know, unfortunately.
Yeah. Roman, I'm not sure if you're seeing it right now. We'll bring it up for you in a second, but the Queensland Police Media Conference is getting set up. So it is, again, I've asked you this before, but just for our viewers just joining us right now, it's the Police Minister and the Police Commissioner.
Police Minister Mark Ryan expected to speak, and the Queensland Police Commissioner Katarina Carroll also expected to speak there. So yeah, obviously you can see those pictures coming through that those pictures coming through of the media conference getting set up.
Yeah, we're just waiting to bring that feed to you. As I said, we will do that the moment we can. But you are, of course, seeing those pictures from earlier from Channel 7. Really, it seems like it's the only footage we've actually gotten out of the area of police initially responding to it. But, of course, so many more developments. Such an extraordinary scene, and certainly, you know, a big kind of developing story here for you right now. So we're just going to continue to wait and hope we can bring that press conference to you live.
I just wanted to say, Leo,
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Albanese has just tweeted a statement. He said that terrible scenes at Williambilla and a heartbreaking day for the families and friends of the Queensland police officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty. My condolences to all who are grieving tonight. Australia mourns with you. And I just got a tweet notification from opposition leader Peter Dutton. Deeply distressing.
And of course, by the way, I was just going to say, prefacing Dutton, he is a former police officer in Queensland.
Yeah, true. So, deeply distressing news coming out of Western Queensland tonight with those police officers who have been murdered. Police officers face danger every day to keep us from it. So it seems like those people have been now confirmed killed. That hasn't been unconfirmed now. So 2 police officers have died, from what it sounds like, from opposition leader Peter Dutton and, of course, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese.
Yeah, Stuart, this would be something that Peter Dutton would be saying a lot about, you'd imagine, as a former Queensland cop. It is, you'd say that he close to home for him. He probably, out of any politician or political party leader, have the most experience about.
Yeah, I think that could be completely accurate there. Obviously, he would still have connections within the police force, so definitely devastating time for anyone involved in the police force.
Yeah.
I remember a few years ago there was a death of a police officer in Toowoomba, and the entire police force came out in mourning. So definitely it'll be hitting all police officers all throughout Queensland pretty hard right now, especially if any more lives are lost.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Roman, just kind of roll us through what we're probably going to hear from police media in just a second.
Pretty much what we're going to hear, the confirmation of those 2 police officers that have been shot. Unconfirmed reports as of right now at this second that it is a male and female police officer. Yeah, we'll probably have more information on that, probably the suspect, what kind of gun it was. I mean, if the gunmen were taken into custody, we're unsure if that has happened yet, and I'm sure there will be condolences issued by both government ministers there. So it's past 7 minutes, so it's 9:37 right now in Queensland. So we're expecting the Queensland Police Minister and Queensland Police Commissioner to speak any moment now.
Yeah, we'll bring that to you. We'll bring that to you live for you when it does start. Yeah. Sorry, I was just going to say we'll bring that to you live when it starts. We do have a live feed up, so we know it's about to start. It's a matter of you know, when are they going to get here? When are they going to get here? So just bear with us here, Stuart. I mean, unless you've seen something different, no arrest made, no one in custody yet.
No, the Guardian is reporting that potentially one of the 2 suspects has been injured. We don't know anything more than that potentially one's been injured. The Guardian has also, like Leo did, reached out to New South Wales Police about the missing person request, and they've also been told to talk to the Queensland Police Estate and decline to comment. So any information we do have about it will come out from this press conference tonight. If not, we are waiting until tomorrow.
Yeah. So let's just. I really would have liked to bring it to you a few minutes ago, but of course it's just about almost 10 minutes past. Past 10:30. So we're just kind of waiting for Queensland Police, the Queensland Police Minister and Police Commissioner. So they should be speaking in a second. You're just seeing those developments now. Sorry, you're seeing that footage now. So yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to recap, Leo, as we are awaiting that press conference. 3 police officers have been shot. 2 have been confirmed dead. Unconfirmed reports of a 3rd female officer escaping. It has believed that they were checking on a missing person in Williambilla in the Western Downs. That is 30 to 45 minutes away from Chinchilla, which is 4 hours from Brisbane. Queensland Police declared a PSPA covering a lot, and I mean a lot, of remote bushland at about 6 p.m. local time today. 2 patrol cars came under heavy fire with with unconfirmed reports again of 4 officers in the car issuing what could be a warrant. These 2 gunmen opened fire with a semi-automatic rifle in camouflage, hiding in the bushes. It's also been, I believe we are going to go to the press conference right now.
Yeah, just bear with us right now. It just should be up in a second. So just bear with you right now. But Stuart, as I think we both discussed a minute ago, this should be probably short and sharp because I imagine even police might not know what exactly is going on here. So police are speaking now. Let's bring that up for you. Bear with us here. But there we go. Police should be speaking now, right now. Let's have a listen.
Early in the morning, where media will assemble at Chinchilla Police Station. It is with deep sadness that I confirm the deaths of 3 people, including 2 officers during incident in the Western Downs late this afternoon. 4 officers attended a property on Waynes Road in Wyambilla in relation to a reported missing person from New South Wales. Tragically, while in attendance, 2 officers were shot and declared deceased at the scene. A member of the public was also shot and is deceased. Another officer received a bullet graze and is receiving treatment in hospital. A 4th officer managed to escape the property and is also receiving treatment. The offenders are yet to be taken into custody. An operation, as I said, is currently unfolding at the location this evening involving Polair and specialist police. We urge the public to stay away from this exclusion zone. While we are yet to learn the full extent of what has occurred today, we do know this event is extraordinarily distressing on many levels. I extend my heartfelt condolences to the officers' families, friends and colleagues. Our thoughts are with them during this extremely difficult time. Those officers paid the ultimate sacrifice to keep our community safe. I would like to also pay tribute to all police and first responders who assisted at the scene and are continuing to respond this evening. Tragically, this is the largest loss of life we have suffered in one single incident in recent times. It is devastating news, and I know that it will deeply be felt across Queensland. It is, sadly, a reminder of the unpredictable nature of policing and the incredible dangers our officers face while protecting our community. I know the days and weeks ahead will be particularly difficult for families and the police family. We are an organisation in mourning tonight, and at the appropriate time we will honour the sacrifice these officers have made for us. Flags will be flown at half-mast at all police stations tomorrow. Our priority right now is to ensure those responsible are brought to justice and that family, friends and colleagues of the officers involved are being supported as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Well, again, the hearts of Queenslanders break. They break again tonight. This is a tragedy on so many levels, and the thoughts of all of us are with the police family tonight. This is a traumatic, confronting and devastating event for our community. The Queensland Police Service has lost 2 heroes tonight, and I express my sincere condolences to their family, friends and colleagues and the entire police family. These officers serve with honour, and we will always remember their sacrifice in service of our community. I know these days that not many people are religious, but I thought some people get consolation in prayer. There is a patron saint for police. It is Saint Michael the Archangel. And this is a prayer to Saint Michael the Archangel. Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in our battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all of the evil spirits who wander through the world, seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. Saint Michael the Archangel, pray for us, pray for all police.
There we go. That was police media just speaking a few minutes ago. Roman, that was a pretty extraordinary, those shorts, 6-7 minute press conference. Can you wrap up what we just heard there? We've confirmed 3 dead now. Roman, we still got you there? Stuart, do we have you? Stuart? No, okay. I will wrap up those key developments then. So what we know right now is that police have confirmed what we have been hearing from those reports all night. 2 officers killed. A third person, a member of the public, is killed. 2 officers also being treated, 2 additional officers, I should say, one with a bullet graze. Queensland Police say flags will be flown at half-mast tomorrow. They've called themselves an organisation in mourning. So a pretty extraordinary press conference there on extraordinary developments. This is the largest loss of police life in recent memory, they say. Excuse me. Roman, I'm hoping we've got you now. Can you wrap up any more developments from that? Nah, Roman. Gosh. Okay then. But all in all, some extraordinary developments on that sense, and look, we'll keep bringing them for you right now. We have also been hearing, and Stuart brought us before that press conference just quickly, that we know a gunman is reportedly injured, an alleged gunman is reportedly injured. So that's what we've heard there. So yeah. No, you can't hear me. Oh, that's weird. Can you at home hear me? Alright, well, seems like you at home can hear me, so that might be an issue on our fantastic call end, because we're kind of managing 2 things at once here. But yeah, that's yeah. So okay, so you can hear me at home. We'll just keep our team on the line for us. But there's been very lots of speculation. We should stay. Okay, great. You can hear me. Thank you for that, team. But yeah, I will continue just following those developments for you right now. So 3 officers confirmed dead. 3 people confirmed dead, 2 of them being officers. So keep your thoughts coming in the comments section right now. Obviously a huge thing of developments that we're getting in. Stuart and or Roman, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Fantastic. Well, it was good to know people
Roman?
at home could
I
hear me.
can hear you, yep.
Yes, we can all hear you now.
Well, I'll try asking the questions we had before. Roman,
Yep.
what are the key developments from that very short press conference that we actually know?
Yeah, so obviously, Queensland Police Commissioner Katarina Carroll announced there that 3 people have died, and police officers were shot dead on scene and pronounced dead, and the another citizen has been pronounced dead. 4 police officers attended the scene. The first 2 obviously was shot and pronounced dead on scene. The other third one received a bullet graze and is now in hospital, and the 4th escaped unharmed, it's believed. Unharmed, and is also receiving treatment in hospital. Flags will be lowered to half-mast across the Queensland Police stations tomorrow. So obviously a very, very sad day for Queensland Police and Queensland in general, Police Minister Mark Ryan said, "quote Well, again, the hearts of Queenslanders break. They break again tonight. This is a tragedy on so many levels."
Yeah, some extraordinary scene. Stuart, I'm not sure if you watched the full press conference, but well, what do you make of all this?
Yeah, pretty much confirmed everything that we knew, with the exception of the fourth officer, the one who was of the four, two are dead. The third one, the one who was injured in hospital, they were extracted through a 16-person strong extraction team that went in and recovered the injured police officer and also the bodies of the two who were deceased. And then the fourth one who escaped is in hospital being treated, likely for trauma and just checking in for any other physical injuries that were unnoticed before. So definitely not much more than we already knew, but it does confirm also the death of a civilian, and that is presumably the neighbour who was
the one who we heard was shot initially. Yeah.
Yes, and that was unconfirmed, but we do have confirmation now that is likely the neighbour who arrived, I believe, before police arrived. Although I could be wrong.
Something like that. Yeah. We were talking about before how it's made international news with News Hub in New Zealand. It's now made the BBC in the UK, so it's safe to confirm. I'd say this will be on CNN within a few minutes if it's not already. Huge international story, and Stuart, I think we can both kind of imagine some of the comments that'll come out when people hear about shooting in Australia. As
yes.
I'm sure we're going to get a lot of comments like that. Because
yes,
and maybe it's just the fault of how it's been reported in the past few decades, but there are, of course, we don't know how these guns have been obtained yet, but there are many legal ways to have guns in Australia, especially in a remote area, especially in Queensland. And of course, by the way, the other thing is, as whether you want to say it or not, as obviously as awful as this is, with 3 dead, you can't compare that to other places in the world. Like if you want to go there, the United States, this is not a regular occurrence here in Australia, as it might be in other places. This is why we've got so much coverage on it, because of just how extraordinary these circumstances are.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to be on Twitter after this one. All the Americans are waking up and hearing about this story, and so it's definitely going to be a gun control debate here, like there always is whenever there's a shooting and the US finds out about it.
Yeah. So Roman, again, just kind of on what we've heard. Can you just, we had it just before the press conference. Can you just go back to what, if possible, the Prime Minister and the opposition leader have said about this? Because they've obviously come out and we're expecting the Queensland Premier tomorrow. But what have Anthony Albanese, Peter Dutton said?
Yeah, so Anthony Albanese basically wrapped up saying, "Terrible scenes in Williambilla and a heartbreaking day for the family and friends of the Queensland police officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty. My condolences to all who are grieving tonight. Australia mourns with you." That was from Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. Here's from former COP opposition leader Peter Dutton. "Deeply distressing news coming out of Western Queensland tonight with those police officers who have been murdered. Police officers face danger every day to keep us from it, in an absolutely tragic night for the whole of Queensland and for the whole of Queensland police."
Yeah, and as you just said there, Peter Dutton is a former Queensland cop, so he would have a unique insight on this. It's it'd be fair to say. So yeah, just continuing to kind of follow this. Let's just go back to what we were discussing about half an hour ago, Roman. It's looking like press conference tomorrow morning in Chinchilla with the police minister, who we just heard from then, but also the Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk.
Yeah, so that will be from the Chinchilla Police Station, which will be Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk, Queensland Police Minister, I forgot his name for a
Mark
second.
Ryan.
Yeah, that one. Mark Ryan and
it's been a long night.
Police. Yeah, the Queensland Police Commissioner Katarina Carroll will address the media again. Of course, we will probably see
some more updates throughout the night. But yeah, obviously an absolutely terrible night, an absolutely terrible afternoon, evening for the whole of Australia as Queensland Police mourned two of its own.
Incredible scenes here. Incredible, almost extraordinary, or no, not almost, definitely extraordinary scenes here. Stuart, this has turned into a manhunt now, hasn't it? There's still 2 gunmen on the loose. We understand one may be injured.
Yes, and again, that was not confirmed in the press conference, so although we had reports of, we cannot say the government or the police have confirmed that yet. That has been reported by numerous outlets, but again, we don't have any confirmation of that by the police. Even if there is an injured suspect, I expect it'll go on well into tomorrow.
Absolutely.
They will definitely be able to probably last the night, especially with the weather, what it is, and their use of camouflage. However, that could change if more police resources are sent to the area. We've got to remember that, although we want a quick resolution to this, that the police also want to minimise further casualties and make sure that no one else dies. So the police will be taking a careful approach to this. That's why they've called in the specialists, the SERT, the Special Emergency Response Team. They've brought them in. That way they have the specialists there to try and minimise any further loss of life. So although we might want a speedy resolution, the fastest solution is not always the most efficient in terms of minimising casualties. So we have to remember that as we look to into tomorrow, the early hours of the morning, potentially into the day. We can't forget that the police don't want to lose anyone else either. So
yeah, especially when we're hearing these people are camouflaged.
Yes, and of course we don't know what weapons they have. We do know they have multiple weapons, including probably police pistols. So they would have obviously ammunition stockpiles. They are prepared. If it is an ambush, which it likely seems to be, then they will be prepared for this to go. They're not going to. I doubt if it's an ambush. I doubt they would have only prepared for a few hours. They most likely have prepared for a while. But of course, on the other hand, there are significant resources in the area right now, and of course, the police are going to be hoping for a speedy resolution, like all of us. But we do just have to be aware of the weather, and it's at night. Their camouflage take all this into account.
Yeah, it's stormy. It's late at night, and it's a very remote area. It's
that's
probably the worst situation if you're looking for gunmen in camouflage. The worst.
We spoke about those storms before. Those storms are now overhead. So currently it is raining, and there is potentially more rain in the area, although that's more to the north. But there is potentially further bad weather coming, so the police do have to be careful with that, because that will affect the use of helicopters potentially, depending on how bad the storms are.
Yeah, and it's just approaching. It's 1 minute to 10 in Queensland. That's 1 minute to 11 Australian Eastern Daylight Time. We're continuing to follow the situation here on 6 News right now. Roman, let's go back to the beginning here. We've heard from the police there, but how has this all unfolded during the day? Because I believe it was 4:45 p.m. when officers first responded, that being local time.
Yeah, so 4:45 here in Queensland, officers responded to gunshots at a acreage property in Willumbilla. Willumbilla. That is in the Darling Downs region, 30 to 45 minutes from Chinchilla, which is 4 hours away from Brisbane. Absolutely terrible scenes as the night has gone on. We just had reports, or confirmed reports of that 2 police officers have been shot dead, including one member of the public as well. So an absolutely terrible night, as I mentioned, for the whole QPS service, and flags will be lowered to half-mast tomorrow. We're also expecting a press conference out of Chinchilla Police Station tomorrow, which, who knows.
And we will bring that to you here on 6 News when it happens.
Yeah, who knows if the gunman will be caught by then. Let's hope.
And we should stress this. I know we're obviously on a dodgy feed here, but if you're not hearing us clearly, we are saying gunmen, not gunmen. Yep. There are believed to be 2 shooters involved here, which is just extraordinary.
Yeah, and sorry, you go, Stuart.
I was just going to say, we do have more from Brisbane Times. This is pretty breaking. That the officer who survived and escaped she'd only just joined the police force. She was only weeks out of the police academy, sent into the situation, and is now being treated likely for trauma because she's brand new to the police force. According to, and I'm quoting the Brisbane Times here directly, in her first year in the service and only a few weeks out of the police academy, managed to flee the scene and help raise the alarm. Should just add some further context as well.
Yeah, that's male, female officer believed to be the ones confirmed dead. Do we get the gender of the civilian or not? I don't think we did.
I am going to speculate here that the third officer, the one who's injured, is also male. So 2 male, 2 female. That tends to be how the police force operates. So it is likely that the third officer, the one who is injured and being treated for that injury, is likely male. And
it did sound like, sorry to disregard, it was the civilian was shot first, is what we think has happened here.
Yes, although we don't have confirmation of that. Again, the police have not confirmed that, but that, from what we're hearing, that is likely that the civilian went as a guest. The neighbour heard something and.
All right. Well, look, we're gonna wrap up our coverage for you here tonight. We're just gonna repeat those breaking developments that we've had right now. 3 police officers confirmed. 4 police officers involved. 2 police officers confirmed dead. A third person, a civilian, confirmed dead in all of that. Roman, just kind of wrapping up your final thoughts here. Anastasia Palaszczuk, this is going to be a huge thing that she'll be mentioning tomorrow, we're sure.
Yeah, speaking of Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk, 5 minutes ago, she tweeted, "Today we have learned a horrible tragedy. 3 people are dead, including 2 Queensland police officers. I extend my deepest respects to the families and our police risk, and, our deepest condolences and all of those kind of things." And, so obviously a very tragic day for the whole of QPS, as I mentioned, and we're expecting a press conference from Chinchilla tomorrow morning.
And Stuart, just quickly for about 30 seconds, your final thoughts on this and how we're gonna see this develop.
Yeah, as I keep saying, I reckon this is going to go well into tomorrow. Given the situation on the ground right now, I don't expect a speedy resolution to this situation, and hopefully no more lives are lost. But given the situation, it sadly would not surprise me if we see further lives lost over this.
Yeah, extraordinary circumstances here, and we thank you for continuing to tune into 6 News right now. We're going to follow this overnight for you on social media at 6NewsAU, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Elite. And just as I said, search 6NewsAU to find us, or head to our website, 6newsau.com. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your coverage tonight. You've been watching 6 News. Stay with us for more overnight development with 3 people confirmed dead, including 2 officers.